Hello, mysterious, beautiful, insightful, intense Scorpio. This is your sun sign Western astrological forecast for the year of 2023. So for anyone born between October 23rd to November 25th, your sun is in the planet of Scorpio, and this is your astrological forecast. This isn't a rising or ascendant sign horoscope. As most of you probably know, you need to know your exact time of birth, exact location, time, longitude, latitude of birth to get an accurate rising ascendant sign placement. The ascendant sign does determine your house placement, so I'm not covering house placements in this horoscope. This horoscope will be talking about how the planetary movements and transits in the atmosphere interact specifically with the energy of your sun. I will talk about the degrees and decans of the sun to give people some more specific windows of time where these specific transits will be more powerful. So let's get going. Let's start with a fun planet this time, huh? I think I started most of my ones so far with Pluto. So let's start with a nice planet. Let's start with Venus. Venus is the planet of love and affection. It's the planet of, attraction, friendships, relationships. It's a planet that brings a lot of harmony, so it's also a planet of aesthetic beauty, whether it's aesthetic beauty in nature or in design. And it's also not just the superficial aesthetic beauty, it's also the beauty within, the inner harmonies. So that's why it also resembles friendships, harmonious relationships, lovely, peaceful relationships and families. So that's what Venus represents. And so when Venus is conjunct your sun, you can expect a lot of inner peace and harmony. And so Venus is conjunct Scorpio Sun starting on December 4th, and it is conjunct your sun December 4th, 2023 until December 29th, 2023. So your sun is your overall being. It's your life force. It's also your consciousness. So your ego and your conscious mind, those things that you consciously experience in this life, where the moon is more in touch with the subconscious. And so it's our life force and our overall being. And then the other planets impact other aspects of our personalities, other planets and placements. But the sun is really one of the most important planets because it also symbolizes like our vitality and our energy. So when your vitality and your energy and your life force is in perfect harmony with the planet of Venus, you just find overall that you feel more outgoing. You might feel more comfortable just being yourself with groups of people. You might feel more understood, that people, if your sun is, usually our sun being our life force, that's usually what we connect and identify with most. That's part of why it's also symbolized by our ego. But so you might feel really comfortable just being yourself, more so in social situations than at other times. And so whether that's your baseline that you are comfortable, you'll feel it even more. And if it's not your baseline, then you'll experience this a little bit. So tap into that energy, plan ahead and tap into that feeling and enjoy if you don't experience that, because not everybody does. Life's hard, so we all have our issues that we deal with. So if that's not something that you experience on a regular basis, definitely look forward to those dates in December to tap into that energy of just being happy and comfortable with you, your life force, your overall being, and how you relate in harmony with others and in relationships. It's also a nice time to express your life force through artistic means or just aesthetic measures. If you might decide you want to express this through how you're dressing or how you decorate, this is a nice time to get in touch with that and explore that and enjoy that. But you don't have to wait until December to have fun with the beautiful planet of Venus. We also have a nice trine. I think there's a nice one coming up pretty quickly. January 26th, Venus enters Pisces and is in Pisces until February 20th. So yours for Scorpio Decan 1, those born between October 23rd through 31st, you'll experience this beautiful trine right away. And then, just kind of moving forward, Decan 2, which is November 1st through 11th, you experience this trine more around the first week of February, into the second week of February, so right in time for Valentine's Day. And then Decan 3 Scorpios, so those of you born between November 12th through the 21st or 22nd, you really experience this beautiful trine right on Valentine's Day. So that's nice, and you'll continue to experience that energy into the 20th of February. And so a trine is a harmonious aspect. It is it's a period when you're experiencing a trine of a major planet such as the sun to any planet. It's a period of easy energy flow between those planets. There's less stress. In fact, relatively, there's a lack of stress. It's a time where you can make creative changes if you like. You might not be inspired to make a lot of change though, because you might be experiencing, harmony and flow and ease with the energies that are there. But if you decide to make creative change, you can do so with less effort than would be usually expected at other times. So when there's a trine between Venus, the planet of love and affection, and your sun sign, your overall being, maybe this is a good time if you're in a relationship where you really care about someone and you're interested in taking it to, a more, from a platonic to maybe a more intimate or romantic. It doesn't have to be physically intimate, but just romantic relationship. That might be a good time to do that. Or you might just discover that you're in a close platonic relationship and you might realize, wait a minute, I think I'm in love with this person. Or, you might just discover that there's another layer to a relationship. Now, but also though, Neptune is in Pisces, so we'll get a little bit more into that, but maintain that stability. Don't just say, oh well, this is, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go and find that relationship during this trine. But if there is the possibility that it's already there, then this might be a time that comes out. And it's also just a nice time to reach out more to friends. And just like the conjunction, it's a similar energy to the conjunction. It's just a little bit, it's not as tied to your ego energy, and it's not as intense. There's a little bit more of an easy flow with the trine. You then have another trine from Venus to your sun on May 7th, when Venus enters Cancer and is there until June 5th, when it enters the sign of Leo. So that's another nice time just to, if you might find that expressing your feelings towards people will be more in harmony with what's going on in the environment during that time. And then let's talk a little bit, let's look at some other aspects here. So let's talk a little bit about Pluto. Pluto has been in Capricorn for a while now. It's going to dip out of Capricorn for a little while between March 23rd. It moves forward into Aquarius, and then it retrogrades May 1st and goes back into Capricorn on June 11th. So Capricorn, Pluto with Capricorn, Pluto's a planet of destruction and rebirth. It's also a planet of big money. It's a planet that can resemble like power struggles. It can be a tough planet to deal with. However, Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn is also like a very hardworking, diligent sign. Capricorns usually deal with crisis by wanting to control and fix. That's definitely not necessarily a bad thing, but combined with the energies of Pluto, there has been a lot of tension in the environment, unfortunately, because of that combination. And that has been a little bit tough for some of the water signs who tend to be a little bit more sensitive and you know, liking to go with the flow, and you know, but Scorpio, though, you have a nice sextile to Capricorn, and Scorpio is kind of the tougher of the water signs, so maybe you haven't been as impacted as much. But sextiles tend to stimulate the intellectual and productive energy of the planets involved. Sextiles can allow you, if there is conflict or challenge, sextiles kind of give you an edge where you can take initiative and deal with things directly, review and revise with less resistance from the environment than you would usually experience. So that's a good thing. So you've already experienced all the transits with Pluto that you're going to experience in Capricorn, because Pluto has been in Capricorn for quite a while. But if Pluto's messed with you, because Pluto's a tough planet, if you've dealt with, you know, chaos and unwanted change and power struggles, that, you know, chances are you've just become stronger through it all. But if you're a Scorpio of the later decade, so more between birth date of November like 14th through the 21st, 22nd, you're experiencing a sextile to Capricorn during this time. So that, and also when Capricorn is in retrograde, when Pluto, is in you know what I mean? When Pluto is in retrograde, especially, you know, like June 11th, when it is in retrograde, if there have been struggles or legal things that you've dealt with that you know, you really feel like you need to revise, or if you have come up with agreements, financial agreements, legal agreements, anything like that, and you need to revise it, this is a great time to do that. Scorpios, you're great at investigating, you know, you're great at looking deeply into things. And so this would be a great time to take advantage of that skill and that ability. Again, I said that sextiles tend to stimulate the intellectual and productive energies of the planets involved. So you can use this to your advantage. It's a good time to go over things, revise, cross your T's, dot your I's, tie your bows nice and tight, get all your ducks in a row. Now, maybe wait, don't, you know, I don't know, yeah, you can deal with it when Pluto is in retrograde, but it's just a good time to go over things. And while it's sextile to your sun, you're more likely to find creative solutions and to advocate for your solutions with less resistance. So in that way, you can use the difficult energies of Pluto to your advantage. Okay, and let's talk a little bit, we can talk a little bit about Mars. So Mars is in retrograde for a lot of the earlier part of the year. Let's see, it finally goes direct. Oh, okay. It's going direct on January 12th, so it's not that bad. But yeah, when Mars is in retrograde, that's a really good time to, you know, like use your wise mind and not react to stuff. Or if someone's like trying to press your buttons, it's a good time to just, you know, let them do what they're gonna do and ignore it, and chances are they're gonna make a fool of themselves anyway. Because when Mars is in retrograde, anyone who's trying to start stuff, it usually ends up falling back and on their face, and they end up not being successful. So it's just a good time to be mindful of that. Mars does go direct on January 12th. And then let's see, on March 25th, Mars goes into Cancer, and there's a trine energy there. So Mars will be trine your sun. And so Mars represents like your physical vitality. Mars is also, though, the planet of like aggression, like your fighting style. And so, but when Mars is trine your sun, so your ego energies are involved, it's your sun, but there's a trine there. So you might find that you're able to stand up for yourself in a way where others kind of see your point, where there's less resistance. Just do it mindfully, you know, don't do it aggressively. You know, you might find that using assertiveness is very successful during this time when Mars is trine your sun. So, you know, they talk about the different communication styles, and we all, I think, have a mix of them depending on the situations that we're dealing with. But they say that assertiveness is the most desirable communication style for getting your point across while also respecting, you know, the needs of others. And so when Mars is trine your sun, you are most likely to have a lot of success with assertiveness during that time. And then Mars is conjunct your sun on October 12th. So it goes into Scorpio on October 12th. So when Mars is conjunct your sun, ego energies are high, but so is physical vitality. So you can use that in a really positive way, right? You know, like keep it balanced, you keep it safe. Don't go lifting, you know, like 200 pounds more than you usually do. Like keep it safe. But you will find that you have more physical vitality. So if you're into bodybuilding, I'm obviously not, my son is, if you're into bodybuilding, that's a time where you might find that you have more endurance and energy than usual. So that's a good thing. You might find that, you know, you have more energy to get things done, whether it's like projects around the house, or if you have a physical fitness goal, you'll find an extra burst of energy toward that physical fitness goal. So keep that in mind. If you've got, you know, a fitness goal, that's a great time for really focusing in a healthy way around working out. You know, keep everything in balance is important. Don't overdo it, because Mars can also, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Mars can also, some astrologers say Mars can increase susceptibility to accidents because the energy is just so high. Also, another thing to be aware of, if your baseline is pretty even keel, low key, and relaxed, then you just might find that your energy is a little bit more peppy. But if your baseline tends to be reactive, or if you get irritated easily, this is a great time just to take more care of yourself, because it does increase a tendency to be a little bit more like irritable, or you know, get aggravated. So that's a good thing to be aware of too. So be nice to yourself during that time. You know, maybe try not to spend time with people who irritate or stress you out if you can. If you have to, then if you have a meditation practice or mindfulness practice that is helpful to you, then just practice that a little bit more frequently. And you can also transmute the energy into something positive. Scorpios are really good at that. Scorpios are good at taking intense energy and transmuting it into something positive when they want to. That's actually one of your strengths. So go for it when Mars is in Scorpio. And let's see, some other important transits. Well, Neptune is in Pisces for most of 2023. It's going to be dancing around, you know, it goes retrograde here and there, but it'll be dancing around between 24 and 27 degrees of Pisces. So that is a nice trine for those of you born roughly between November, November 14th through the 20th. So you'll be experiencing a trine of Neptune to Pisces. So the good thing about that is that you might notice an increase in intuition. Let me explain a little bit more about Neptune first. So Neptune is the spiritual and the mystic in all of us. It can bring us closer to our intuition. It sort of it lifts the veil between the 3D world and the spiritual world, the mystical world. So in some ways, if you're keeping a very balanced mind and taking good care of your health, this can lead to increased intuition and connection, like with your energy source and understanding of the energies around you. But it can also be, it can increase psychic abilities, but it can also make us more susceptible to deception. It can make us more susceptible to feeling-based beliefs. So it can make us susceptible to wishful thinking or even fear-based beliefs. So when Neptune is trine your sun, this is a very important time to be in touch. If you can, if you're into this, it's a great time to just focus on where your conscious and your subconscious mind are in harmony. Be in touch with your energies, with your central nervous system. So again, yet another great opportunity for using mindfulness, meditation, just going, if you're not into mindfulness and meditation, just going on nature walks, spending time being kind to yourself, and I guess purposefully trying to view the world in as objective way as possible. So if you tend to be like somebody who thinks in black and white categories, like everything's great, everything's awful, practicing looking at the gray area, practice focusing on, the realities and the things that you can control and accepting the realities of the things that you can't. If you tend to think in extremes, because Scorpio can be an intense sign, and so it's easy to get into the more extreme thinking. If you're not into mindfulness and meditation, you probably are if you're watching an astrology video, but if you're not, you can also do cognitive behavioral techniques. So if you look up Dr. Burns, he's sort of the godfather of CBT, or one of them anyway. And if you look up his 15 ways to untwist your thinking, those are some great strategies for kind of keeping some mental clarity and not allowing intense emotions to kind of cloud your thinking. Because Scorpio is a very intuitive sign, and they also have a lot of emotional depth. So really all the water signs, when Neptune is in Pisces, it's great to practice just keeping that balanced mind, keeping yourself in the therapy field, we call it, in the window of tolerance, where you're present, you're in a place where you can observe what's going on and be in touch with what's going on, but not react to it. So when we're above the window of tolerance, we're in hyperarousal, you know, we feel overwhelmed, it's harder to think clearly, we have emotional reactivity, hypervigilance. You know, those, if we're in touch, if their veil between the 3D world and the mystical world is lifted, and we're getting all these, you know, signals and we're picking up on all these emotional energies around us, you know, that can feel intrusive if we're not in a really good balanced place. So it's a great time to practice anything that helps you feel peaceful, clear of mind, and balanced. And, you know, it's also to be aware of going, you know, below the window of tolerance into hypoarousal, where, you know, people might feel numb or just disassociated or not in touch or an autopilot. You know, you don't want to go there either when Neptune is making a strong aspect to your sun. You want to do everything you can to stay in that nice balanced place. I personally do recommend, if you have a self-care routine, if you have a meditation practice, if, you know, or if, you know, you like using CBT techniques, you know, practice looking at the gray area, practice taking some things with a grain of salt, even the things that are important where you know that there's a lot of emotional validity there. You know, honor that emotional and intuitive experience, observe it, honor it, but also take it for what it is. We're gonna get an interruption here. I think I might have to edit this out, but also honor it for what it is and maintain that objectivity, because we all have our different experiences with Neptunian energy and different ways of interpreting it. And so just allow your intuition as well as your wise and practical mind to work together and to be your guide. And so that's my advice for Scorpio in 2023. I hope you enjoyed this forecast. I hope it was helpful. And thank you for taking the time to listen. I do hope to be able to budget my time and dedicate more time and energy into doing more of these horoscopes. I do have a full-time job and I'm a full-time mom as well. So my doggie is crying because she wants to see my son. She's a sweet, sweetie pie, and I gotta go out there. But I do hope to dedicate more time to this, and I hopefully maybe starting in March, I'll do at least bi-monthly forecasts. So if you like what I do, if you like my energy, if you like my style, please feel free to support the channel in any way you like. You can subscribe or you can like the video, whatever works for you. I hope to see you again, hopefully no later than March of 2023. Have a great year, Scorpio, and thank you for watching. Bye.